My name is Jane, and I grew up in Ohio. Back in 2016, I was working as a registered nurse at a small community hospital just outside of Columbus. Like most new nurses, I didn't get to pick my shifts. That meant I was stuck with a night shift. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. 5 nights a week. At first, I didn't mind it. I've always been a night owl, and the pay was slightly better than the day shift. But working nights changes the way you see the world. The hospital was different at 3 a.m. Silent, dimly lit. The kind of silence that made every noise echo down the long white hallways. And when I left for home in the early morning, the streets were empty, the parking lot dark, and the world just felt off. That was when it all started. The first night I noticed him. It was around 2:45 a.m. I had just stepped outside the side entrance for my quick break, sipping on a cup of hospital coffee that tasted more like burnt water. The staff smoking area was dimly lit, just one buzzing fluorescent light above the door. That's when I saw him, across the parking lot, leaning against an old sedan. At first, I didn't think much of it. Sometimes patients' family members would stay late, waiting for updates. But this man wasn't smoking, wasn't on his phone. He was just staring. Not at me, not at the hospital, just standing in that awkward way like he didn't belong. Hoodie pulled up, hands in his pockets, head tilted slightly down. I felt a chill run through me, but I forced myself to ignore it. I finished my coffee, went back inside, and convinced myself I was just tired. The second time was harder to brush off. It was 3 nights later. I was walking to my car at the end of my shift. 6:55 a.m., the sun barely starting to rise. The parking lot was nearly empty except for the other nurses' cars. I spotted him again, sitting in that same sedan. He wasn't looking at me this time, but the way he sat so still, hands gripping the steering wheel, made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I remember fumbling with my keys, sliding into my old Honda as fast as I could, and locking the doors before I even started the engine. I tried to convince myself it was coincidence. Maybe he was just some guy waiting for someone. But deep down, I knew better. His presence didn't feel like coincidence. It felt deliberate. A week later, I couldn't deny it anymore. That night, I parked in a different section of the lot, further from the entrance. Around 3:30 a.m., I had to go outside to grab something from my car. The lot was silent, dark except for a few orange streetlights. As I unlocked my trunk, I heard it, the sound of footsteps behind me. Slow, measured, deliberate. I froze, my pulse hammered in my ears. "Do you need help with something?" I called out, trying to sound braver than I felt. Silence. The footsteps stopped. I turned around quickly, and there he was, the man from the sedan. Closer than ever before, maybe 20 feet away. Hood up, face shadowed, just standing there. My breath caught in my throat. I slammed the trunk shut and back toward the hospital entrance. He didn't move, didn't say anything, just stood and watched as I hurried back inside. That was the night I realized I wasn't imagining things. Someone out there was watching me, waiting. After that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. Every time I walked through that parking lot, I felt eyes on me. Even when I didn't see him, I imagined him there, just out of sight, hiding in the shadows. One morning, after a particularly long shift, I stumbled out to my car half asleep, desperate to get home. My Honda was parked under one of the flickering street lamps. That's when I saw it. A small piece of paper tucked under my windshield wiper. I pulled it free, expecting it to be some kind of flyer. But no. It was a handwritten note. Just 3 words, written in messy, slanted handwriting. "You look tired." My stomach dropped. My hands trembled as I read it over and over. Someone had been close enough to my car to leave that note. Close enough to see me, and they weren't just watching me. They were studying me. I ran back inside and told the security guard on duty, a man named Rick. He was in his late 50s, a former cop, and not the type to laugh things off. His face grew serious as he read the note. "You did the right thing, Jane," he said. "You don't ignore something like this. From now on, don't walk out here alone. Call me, or one of the other guys. We'll walk you out." That gave me a little comfort, but the fear never left me. Over the next week, I spotted the hooded man 2 more times, always lingering in the lot, always at a distance, never speaking. Once he stood under the farthest streetlight, just a silhouette, like he wanted me to see him but not his face. Another time, I caught him in the reflection of the glass doors as I was leaving. He was behind me, closer than ever before. Then gone when I turned around. Then came the night that nearly broke me. It was a Wednesday, 3:15 in the morning. I had gone outside for some air after a rough patient case. The parking lot was quiet, the sky cloudy with no moon. Rick was supposed to be on patrol, but I didn't see him anywhere. As I approached my car, I heard something. A soft tapping, like metal against glass. My headlights were reflecting faintly off the windshield, and that's when I realized someone was inside my car. My blood ran cold. I could see the faint outline of a figure sitting in the driver's seat. Slowly, deliberately. They lifted a hand and tapped their finger against the inside of the glass. Tap, tap, tap. I froze. My keys were in my pocket, useless. My phone was inside my bag, back in the staff lounge. My body screamed at me to run, but my legs wouldn't move. Suddenly, a voice shouted across the lot. "Hey, step out of the car." It was Rick. He came rushing out from the side entrance, flashlight in hand. The figure inside my car moved fast, too fast. The door flew open and the man bolted into the darkness. I only saw him for a second. Tall, lanky, hood pulled so low I couldn't make out his face. But I'll never forget the way he ran, jerky, frantic, like a predator caught in the act. Rick chased him halfway across the lot before the man slipped into the trees beyond the property. He came back, breathing hard, face grim. "He's not just watching you," he told me. "He's escalating." That night, they moved my car under the camera and insisted on escorting me back and forth every shift. The hospital administration even filed a report with local police. But without a name or a clear description, there wasn't much they could do. The man was a ghost, appearing and disappearing at will. I didn't sleep that day. Every creak in my apartment sounded like footsteps. Every shadow outside my window looked like him. He wasn't just haunting the parking lot anymore. He was in my head. A week later, I thought maybe things had calmed down. I hadn't seen the hooded man for several nights. No notes, no figures in the shadows. I let myself believe, just for a moment, that maybe he had moved on. That illusion shattered on a Friday morning. My shift had just ended and Rick wasn't on duty that night. Instead, a younger guard named Alex walked me out. He was friendly, but he didn't have Rick's cautious edge. He joked as we crossed the lot, telling me not to worry. Creeps like that usually move on when they don't get what they want, he said. I wanted to believe him, but as we reached my car, my stomach twisted. Something was wrong. My headlights reflected off the windshield, and I saw it again. A piece of paper tucked under the wiper. My hands shook as I pulled it free. This one was worse. In the same messy handwriting, it read, "I can take care of you." My throat went dry. Alex saw it too, and the smile disappeared from his face. He glanced around the lot, suddenly tense. "Let's get you inside," he muttered. That's when I heard it, the sound of gravel crunching behind us. We both turned, and there he was. The hooded man stepping out from between two parked cars, moving toward us. Slowly, purposefully. His hands were in his pockets, but his posture told me everything. This wasn't just intimidation anymore. Alex stepped in front of me, flashlight raised. "Stay right there!" he barked. "I'm calling the cops!" The man didn't stop. He kept walking, head tilted down, face hidden in shadow. 10 feet away. Then 8. Then 6. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I thought, this is it. This is how it ends. Suddenly the man lunged. His hand came out of his pocket, and in it was something metallic. Later I realized it was a screwdriver. Alex shoved me back and swung his flashlight like a club. It connected with a sickening thud, and the hooded man stumbled. Alex shouted for me to run, and I did. I sprinted for the hospital entrance, lungs burning, legs weak with terror. I slammed through the doors and screamed for help. By the time security and 2 off-duty nurses rushed out, the hooded man was gone. Vanished into the night like he always did. But this time, he left something behind. The screwdriver, lying in the gravel. The police finally took things seriously. They dusted the screwdriver for prints, checked nearby cameras, and increased patrols around the hospital. Rick went back to escorting me personally. For a while, I was terrified to even show up for work. Every shadow in that parking lot felt alive. Every stranger's face looked like his. Weeks passed with no sign of him. I started to breathe again, telling myself maybe he'd been scared off for good. But the damage was done. I couldn't park without scanning every corner of the lot. I couldn't walk down a hallway without checking over my shoulder. And I definitely couldn't sleep through the night without waking to phantom footsteps in my apartment. They never caught him. To this day, I don't know who he was or what he wanted. The police suspected he might have been a former patient, someone who slipped through the cracks, someone unstable and obsessed. But without proof, he remained just a shadow in my past. What I do know is this: he wasn't just some harmless loiterer. The screwdriver told me everything. He wasn't watching me for fun. He was waiting for the right moment. And I can't shake the thought. If Alex hadn't been there that night, if he hadn't stepped between us, I might not be here to tell this story. Working nights taught me a lot about people, about fear, about how fragile our sense of safety really is. But the biggest lesson? Monsters don't always hide under your bed. Sometimes they hide in parking lots. Sometimes they wear hoodies and wait in the dark. And sometimes they follow nurses home after their shift. Jane's story proves that horror doesn't always come from ghosts or demons. Sometimes the real monsters are the ones standing in the shadows, watching, waiting. Have you ever felt like someone was following you? Or maybe noticed something off that you couldn't explain? Share your story in the comments below. I read them all. And don't forget to subscribe to the Bone Library for more true horror stories. Stay safe and stay alert.